The Battle of Britain. In June 1940, Adolf Hitler, the leader of the Germans, believed that the British would seek peace since Germany had defeated France. The Battle of Britain lasted from the 10th July 1940 to the 31st October. It was a British victory, and the battle had been held mainly in British airspace. For Britain, there was 14,286 civilians killed because of the battle. The battle lasted 4 months and was Germany's first major defeat in World War II. The Germans' aim was to force Britain to agree to a negotiated peace treaty. On August 1st, the German Air Force was instructed to overwhelm the British Air Force, the German Air Force being the Luftwaffe, and the British Air Force being the Royal Air Force. The Luftwaffe began to attack the RAF 12 days into the battle, and the Luftwaffe began to target buildings and airfields, and then they targeted aircraft production factories. Hitler wanted to end the war quickly, so he ordered the invasion of Britain. The operation was codenamed Operation Sea Lion, and before the Germans could invade Britain, they needed to remove the threat of Britain's Air Force, the Royal Air Force. The attack was important in the war because only if it was successful would the Germans be able to invade Britain and win. The British Royal Air Force had to be taken out by the Germans in the Battle of Britain. The Germans did end up failing their attack due to some critical decisions. The RAF had been developing rapidly between the 1936 to 1940 due to their preparations for the threat of a German attack. The RAF Fighter Command was under the leadership of a successful leader, Hugh Dowding. The British had another advantage on the Germans, that was the air defense system, called the Dowding system. This was a significant contributor to the British defense, and if not for the certain creation of this system, the Germans would have come closer to a victory. Another advantage for the British was that the battle was at their home, so downed fighters were able to be recovered and reused. The RAF pilots of the fighters that were shot down would also return to the battle after recovering. For the Luftwaffe pilots, however, there was no such opportunity, so the Germans were losing pilots faster than the British were. During the last week of August and the first week of September, the battle was at an intense phase, and the Germans intensified their efforts to destroy the RAF airfields. Most of the damage was done in the southeast, but even though there was significant damage, most of the airfields remained operational. The Luftwaffe overestimated the damage they had inflicted, and then that misled the Germans to believe they were close to beating the Royal Air Force. Due to this, on September 7th, the Germans shifted the focus of the Luftwaffe attacks onto London. One of the most significant decisions made during the Battle of Britain was when Adolf Hitler ordered the Luftwaffe to stop attacking the RAF and terror bomb London instead. This was done because the Luftwaffe believed that the RAF was at its weakest, and they wanted to force Britain's hand by targeting London and forcing the RAF to defend London. The Luftwaffe weren't successful, however, because of the massive numbers of RAF fighters that came to defend London, due to their overestimation of the damage that they had done to the RAF. On September 15th, as the bombings of London continued, RAF Fighter Command fought off a large attack by the Luftwaffe. The Germans suffered severe losses, and the German attacks were becoming unsustainable for them as they were being fought off successfully each time by the British. It took several more weeks for Hitler to call off the attacks and indefinitely postpone Operation Sea Lion as the Luftwaffe failed to take the air force of the British. The Battle of Britain was highly significant in changing the course of the war, since if Britain didn't win the air battle, Germany would have taken out their air force. If Germany had taken out the RAF, then the German soldiers wouldn't have been able to come across the sea from France. If Britain was taken over, then the outcome of the war would have been a German victory. It also cost Germany a heavy amount of its Luftwaffe and left it heavily weakened. It's such a big turning point because the outcome could have been changed significantly for either side, and whoever would have won the Battle of Britain would have then been at a much better position to win the war.